Hi, it's Joy and today I'm going to be watching The Wild, Season 1, Episode 5. I was going to say Season 5, Episode 1. Day 7, which is the day after the previous episode, which means tension's still going to be running high after everything that went down in the previous one, and I'm stressed. I'm very excited though to find out which of the girls we're going to hear from this episode, if we're going to be repeating a girl or if each girl's going to get her own story. I hope each girl gets her own story because then we'll get to actually speak to each girl, but we will see. A reminder that you can find, and see that they're alive is what I meant that. And also I want to hear from all of them. Reminder that you can find the unedited version of this reaction and all of my reactions on my Patreon 2 weeks in advance, the edited version 1 week in advance, and let's go. Oh, Fatin's musician, isn't she? You torturing children? You feeling good about yourself today? You don't deserve this. It kills me because all of these characters that we've introduced, the girls, need therapy to help them deal with all the issues they're going through. They should have been at a therapeutic place for this summer and instead they're in hell. It's very different from the rest of her life. Does she not, in like the life she chooses, does she not choose to play the cello?
And this basically sums up how much she cares about our welfare.
We need to find water. Oh.
Is everything alright, Dad?
Have you lost something?
I lost the lighter.
You lost the fucking lighter?
Don't be like... Is Dot part the operative because
Give it back.
she lost the lighter on purpose? Oof. There's a lot of rivalry here.
You had the audacity to call me a psycho.
You did hold her under the water!
It's Fatin's, right?
Oof. Is it guilt making you itch? Because it should be.
Maybe I'm just uncomfortable having someone who actively hates me working in my employ. He doesn't hate you.
He should.
It's just, this is Fatin we're talking about. She is not some wilting flower, my friend.
She's not, even if she might appear it.
She is
Practicing my pizzicato?
There's already 3 offers on the Pacific Heights house.
Just ignoring her.
Time to call the other agents.
Terrible parents. Talk to your children. Be with them.
Sorry, you don't appreciate your gift. One day you will.
If she doesn't want to play the cello, she doesn't have to play the cello.
It was important for the
She's
kids to be
already...
around. What would happen if she's a shut-in?
Well, maybe because Leah went apeshit on her too yesterday.
You did hold her under the water.
So what do we do?
Are they all going to come together for this? This is what I want.
Plus, you know your way around a snake.
So true.
She's not gonna budge.
On anything.
I hate this.
Handcuff me to that cello.
The idea that, like,
If she could, she'd probably get off on it.
parents should agree on how to raise their children rather than
Fatin, she sees how good
him
you
being
are.
like, I'm just such a good
You know
guy
how
and she's the
intense
really
it is,
evil
but
person.
That balls to don't wanna have to lie to her, okay?
He's like, I'm just such a good guy and Mum just doesn't understand us.
Would you rather eat nothing but plain yogurt for the rest of your life? Like, not vanilla yogurt, like I'm talking plain. Or suck off your dad? Fucking yogurt! Yogurt! Guys, please, focus.
I mean, that
On way too long sticking around.
that did take their minds off everything.
But staying vigilant is more important.
Leah's feeling a bit guilty for lashing out.
You know, this is like
Howling and screeching.
Did it sound like it came from something like this size?
Yeah, important information.
That one.
Please be like a bunny rabbit or something.
As soon as it doesn't fit your agenda, you bail.
You do need to apologise for holding her under the water.
Dude, I wasn't going back.
We all need...
I'm not fucking crazy.
not in a good headspace, and you did hold her under the water! Like, yeah, she's kind of attacking you on it, but you're acting like that never
Screaming
happened.
that did not help my case.
How are any of you agreeing to this?
Fatin does not disappear when provoked.
No. But she's still doing nothing about it. She had loads of stuff in her suitcase. Oh. Yep, he acts like he's the nice guy, like he's all perfect, and yet he's cheating on their mum.
So your move was to share that photo with his entire contact list.
Oh.
No one's gonna know it was me. I encrypted that shit to within an inch of its life.
She's done it already? Is this the behaviour that
Squeaky clean.
caused her to be sent there?
Hey, you know what I like? Like, for real, lighten the hell up. Kindred fucking spirits. I just mean you're both trying to give each other the same damn advice. No.
Oh god.
What is this? You okay?
What the fuck is taking me down?
Okay.
Rachel!
Oh, the fire's gonna go out because she's gonna come to help Rachel. It's already out.
I can do it!
She loses her hand at some point.
Give me your hand.
We're a team.
You gotta stop.
We're a team. We're a team. We've got this.
Okay? And let us help you. Okay? Breathe.
Oh, they all have their own moments of skill set. You did it. You did it. When it comes down to life and death, nothing matters quite so much. Does she die? Because we haven't. It's only literally just occurred to me that we aren't seeing her interviews, and I should have thought of that sooner. I've been so blasé thinking, like, but wait, we haven't seen any of her interviews. Is she not going to make it?
I don't know
Yeah.
what to do.
The way you did it, Fatin, it was revenge on your dad, but on your mum. It's the most humiliating and cruel way to do it.
I'm so sorry, Mom.
I hate myself for just thinking because it was her episode she was fine, but it doesn't mean that at all because we haven't seen her. Oh, thank God. She been marking a route somewhere? She did it. She did hurt herself.
Trying to find something useful.
Good.
Good hustle.
You can patch things up if you apologise and talk to her. Give her some time, but you can do it. Can we see her in an interview room now, please?
Your own brothers are too embarrassed to go to school.
What did you do?
Mama, look at me.
You are the cheater, you bastard.
Private life is none of your concern.
She shouldn't have sent the picture to all of his contacts, but she was just a hurt child.
Too young to understand.
No, she's not.
Marriage is more than just
I coddled you too much.
No, you're a
You've no
bastard.
respect for us, for family, for anything.
Disgusting. I'm with Fatin, 1000%. She shouldn't have sent the picture. I do think that was a step too far, more for her mother's sake and her
Fatin,
brother's sake. But for him,
you continue to dig your own grave.
hopefully you will learn some respect for something other than yourself.
Yeah, no.
you don't have any, I'm afraid.
I'm sorry, Fatin,
Fatin's mum, you've got no respect for yourself right now.
but it's happening.
You can be upset that she sent the picture and didn't think of the wider repercussions, but you know why she did that? Because she was a hurt child.
Really think me.
I'll never comprehend why you did this.
Ugh.
I was your friend. I understood you.
You were her father and you
We're
were
so
a
alike.
bastard.
Nothing like.
Hurt you just caused runs deeper than anything I did. Don't you
No,
see
you
that?
did it! She couldn't have done anything if you hadn't done anything. Yeah.
You are a vile person.
Yes, I agree. He is. He's a
Maybe Mom doesn't
narcissist.
see that
He's
yet,
the
but
kind of
she
man
will.
who thinks he's God's gift and he's the
You're a
best person
danger
ever.
to our family.
Says the
Having
danger.
this
Oh
home
my God,
isn't safe for
Fatin.
any of us.
Their parents are destroying what matters most in the world, their children.
Come on, Alex, you need this. No retribution, no reprisal.
You're already doing anything else, she says, by torturing some girls, some children, so why not? Why didn't we have Fatin talking to the authorities that she died later? When I've just found an even more renowned love for her than I had before.
My shit is your shit. Or it's all part of Dorothy's inventory, right?
Hell yeah, it is.
Oh, are they going to be much more united than they were? Leah, you can be united too.
I'm gonna try something right now.
Oh.
And I can't promise that it's gonna go
Do
okay.
you want to hug her? Yes. It was not a good or healthy relationship. Is that their way of making their peace? Oh, what's the next step of the evil, monstrous scientists? Was the package a terrible alien of some kind? Not alien! This isn't that kind of show. Animal. I meant animal.
Murders ain't no joke, man.
Dig her back up? Doesn't that feel a little sacrilegious?
I don't know that we've got any other choice.
She couldn't have stayed there. You always meant to have her dug back up again to send her home.
Fuck it.
Is she still there? I guess they haven't come to get her.
Resurrection? No, this
So-
is weird as hell.
Yeah. People are controlling this.
Disappear.
Even if 8 wild animals came.
Maybe she got taken out by the tide.
The ground's wet, the elevation of the sand is shifted.
Tide could take a body out.
Tides can pull anything out. Cars, entire houses.
Shelby was the one to suggest that. Does that mean she's the operative, covering up for them removing Jeanette's body? Or was Nora supplying extra information and Dot agreeing too? All 3 of them. Ugh. I guess you never would think that we are being controlled, even though I think this is a bit of a clue that there is more to this than just everything being natural. You would never suspect that anyone would be that sadistic and vile.
Whole situation. You feel it in her bones.
Oh, thank God.
Did you share that with anyone else?
But yeah, I believed her.
You're still in on it, right? I still don't think we're safe. Oh, innocently were. She's picked up on all the clues. Okay, so I absolutely love this episode. I'm so glad that it ended with everybody more together than they had been. Obviously, there are still little points, mainly Tony and Marty kind of separating their friendship there, but I do think that that is something that they maybe will be able to get over, or I think they'll get through it. Especially if Tony is able to take some time self-reflecting and kind of working on herself, then it wouldn't all be up to Marty to do, etc. But I really did enjoy that despite there being continual points of tension here, they all pull together to save Rachel, and then they all pull together to find Fatin, and then she found them water so they can drink, which is a huge weight off everybody's minds. And I just am really proud of Fatin for stepping up, and I love that we got to see that there is more to her than the image she projects. I mean, I still think that her lack of contribution during the shelter building challenge was a bit much. Like, I've said, I think in that reaction, I know I would be useless. I know that, like, if you left me to my own devices, what I did would actually make it worse than if you just, I would be saying, well, just tell me exactly what to do and I will do my best. You know, you kind of have to pitch in those situations, and so the fact that she was just like, I'm not going to, like, is a bit much. But I think no one can say how they're going to react in times of stress and torture, and she didn't feel up to it that day, and sometimes you don't. So, and she atoned for it by going looking for something useful, and she found the water, and I really, really respect that. She even injured herself and kept going. I also love them for all going to look for her. I think that was really significant as well. It shows you that they really will look out for each other, even though they were like, oh, she stole our water, they were still like, okay, now we have evidence that she could be hurt, we have to go. So I really, really do respect that, and I respect Fatin for finding the water. I loved the scene where Rachel, I'll get onto Rachel in a second. I loved the scene where Fatin and Leah made up. They sort of both apologised, and I think as well, if someone lashes out at you and is really horrible to you when you're stranded on a desert island together, you're probably going to be more understanding about that than if it was over, like, who eats the last chip at dinner, you know, I don't know. So I think that scene was really sweet, and when she gave her the hug was lovely as well. I think for Leah it is significant that she threw the book away into the fire. She's not clinging onto that anymore. She's getting out of the burning building finally. But I'm both excited and scared that Leah's figuring it all out, because I think Leah's got the most, in a way, the sharpest eye, or just kind of, her mind works that more. The reason that she's the psychologist, crazy, evil, mad scientist woman's favourite is because of the way her mind works. She picks up on things. She's the most cynical out of them in a way, but she picks up on the most clues that there are, and she's piecing things together. Now, I don't know what proof they have unless they manage to find one of the cameras, but I'm guessing they're pretty well hidden, or some pretty advanced technology, because they haven't. I'm still scared that the interviews at the end aren't with, they don't look like they're somewhere like in a hospital or in a police station. I do feel like they've been rescued by the Daughters of Eve mad lady and they're still not safe. I don't necessarily think they're gonna like kill them all, but I'm still stressed about what's going on there. I don't think this is like a police debrief. I feel like this is a debrief at the end of the experiment. Fatin, seeing her there, I really worked myself into a state that she was going to be dead. Thank God she wasn't, and thank God she's there at the end. Her personal life is crushing. For the beginning, it was quite stressful and quite hard to kind of see, like, obviously when she was younger, she enjoyed playing the cello and she has a natural talent for it. But if you force somebody into doing it, even if they're doing it for their best interest, if you force anybody to do anything, they will start to resent that thing. They will start to hate that thing. And that is not the way to foster the love for it. The fostering the love for it would be to let her do it at her own pace. And you know what? If she doesn't go to Juilliard because cello isn't her passion, that's okay. I was proud of her for kind of sticking up for herself in every situation. And I definitely got vibes with her dad that he was just such a, oh, I'm the nice guy, I'm such a good dad, I'm such a good guy, that it kind of, he was constantly, while being like, oh, you know, we'll do it this way for your mum, but she just doesn't understand us, that there was something off there. And then the fact that he was acting as though he had done nothing wrong. Now, obviously there are cultural differences, but I don't think even that is necessarily all that's coming into play. I think the dad is a narcissist, and I think her mum, because those were all just meaningless flings, so like, you know, it wasn't like he was seeing anybody long term and having a relationship they wanted to move on with, that she's able to kind of put it to bed. And throughout history, people have been like, oh yes, the man's had some indiscretions, but the marriage comes first. And I would like to think more and more nowadays, people are like, no, fuck that, I come first. He's cheating on me, he's a despicable bastard, a vile human being, I don't want him in my life, I don't want him in my son's life, I do not want that to be the role model my sons have, would be where I would be. But then to turn on Fatin, now yes, I do think her mother should have sat down with her and said, look, can you think about what you've done, you know, it's not a good idea. I hate the idea that their like circle of friends and their world, people are blaming their mother for any of it. And you know, she couldn't show her face at the mosque. Like, fuck that. Sure, it would be embarrassing. I think to anybody who is cheated on, there is that, not deserved, but that feeling of embarrassment that it's happened to you. And her mother should never have to feel that. But the father should be the one who can't show his face anywhere, because they know what he's been doing and he has a family and he threw all that away. And then acting like Fatin was the villain. Like, yes, sit down with her and tell her something about what you did. Okay, yes, you got petty revenge on your father, but you exposed me to the huge humiliation, your brothers to humiliation. You know, you made our family affair public. Whereas just showing her mother or telling her mother would have been less embarrassing. But Fatin was a heartbroken girl whose parents she felt the closest to and idolised turned out to be a speck of scum on the earth. I can relate to that. And yes, I thank God never found pictures like that of my father or anything. But I can relate to, I still, even now, and I'm 27 now, it's been 10 years, when I see my dad posting pictures on Facebook of his perfect happy life, have the urge to comment like, oh yeah, shame that, you know, you've destroyed my life. You know, just to be really like, just telling the truth, no lies, but to be vicious with it. To like, whereas it wouldn't make, and everyone would just think I was being a bitter daughter, it wouldn't make any difference. But I've been in this similar position to Fatin, obviously not the same, and I was around her age when everything happened in my life, and I can tell you from experience, it destroys you to find out that a parent you used to really look up to is worthless. It's not even like, oh, you grow up and you find out your parents are human. Like, if you grow out and you find out your parents are dick. It's awful. And so the fact that they were treating her as though she had done something unthinkable, that she was destroying the family, and that then they were going to send her away to an extremely strict Muslim school when they don't even seem to be extremely strictly practicing Muslims. I mean, at the very least, they don't visibly seem to, the mother doesn't seem to wear any of the head coverings or anything. It's just disgusting. For Fatin's sake, I just want to give her the biggest hug and say, if you go back to the real world and that still happens, like if none of, it's 1 year and you can survive it. Like, you have such a world of inner strength within you, you can cling to that. I mean, for one thing, you could probably make that life, the school's life hell, but you can even just toe the line, do exactly what they say for 1 year, and then get out and have your life and say fuck you to your parents and be there for your brothers when they grow up to realise, hopefully they grow up to realise that they're living in a terrible family rather than a very dysfunctional family, rather than become their father. I don't totally blame the mother. I think she was very much destroyed, as we saw, and while they shared that moment together, I think she really does feel as though the reason she's embarrassed is because Fatin shared the picture. The reason that this humiliation has fallen on her when it should be him that's humiliated is because of Fatin. And in some ways, I think it's easier if she holds the blame towards her rather than her husband, because she doesn't want to break up the marriage. But so I'm not angry at her mother in the same way, but I am angry at her mother. I am angry at her mother that she's not putting her children first. She's kind of putting her own image and her sense of her marriage first. And yeah, everything was not as wonderful there as it seemed. So I feel a closeness to Fatin. You know, I love all of these girls, I really do, but she was one of the ones that I felt like I had the least in common with, whereas now I feel like we have this thing that's fairly big in our lives that we have kind of in common with, and I would like to sit down with her and talk with her and just be there for her in her life. So with the rest of the girls, Nora and the fire, I am glad she managed to light it again. I really thought, like, she's gonna, like, be so mortified if that fire goes out and upset, and they won't be able to boil the water. And I mean, I know that you can start fires with like flints, but obviously that's very tricky. I suppose they would just have to sit there for hours doing that. Now, did Dot lose the lighter as part of their mission because now they have to struggle? Or I don't know. I'm down. My main suspects are still Dot, Shelby, and Nora. If it is Dot, then that kind of makes you think this probably isn't the debrief mission, because it didn't seem like a debrief. But yeah, I don't know who it's going to be. I'm just intrigued. To an extent, I could see maybe if when they were going, before she left on their thing, maybe if they were like, oh, we can get you out of that boarding school. Oh, sorry, I just hear hoovering in my house and an ice cream van outside. You know, maybe there would be a way that they could try to get to her that way, but I still think it's going to be Dot, Nora, or Shelby. Rachel and Leah, I think that moment where she kind of, I think Dot, by saying, oh, you're both quite similar, helped, and then the moment where they pulled Rachel out of the quicksand, quick mud, and they looked at each other and they had that moment of maybe this is all for nothing. And then I think what sealed the kind of healed their breach was when she gave her the book to use as fire, as kindling. One thing I will say is, yeah, I get that Rachel was holding her under for a valid reason, getting the black box, which might save them, but I still do think she probably should say sorry. I just get very goal oriented. Like, Leah calling her a psychopath. If someone held me under the water, to be honest, if someone kept screaming at me to go under when I couldn't, when I wasn't ready, I would be like, I'm gonna wait here for a bit, actually. I would probably call her a psychopath too. And I think it was Rachel's absolute outrage at that concept. If I was Nora, if I was Leah, I so would have been like, excuse you, you come out of the water, that's why I called you a psychopath. I do wish Rachel had kind of been like, sorry about that was a bit much. But you got the job done, I suppose. So I love these girls. We still need to hear from Marty, Shelby, Nora. Is that everyone? Because we've done Leah, we've done Dot, we've done Rachel, we've done Fatin, done Tony. So then there's 8 of them. Yeah. So we still need to hear from 2 of my suspects and Marty. I am excited for where this show goes next. This was episode 5 of 10, so I'm at the halfway point. I love this show. I want it to reach the end. It's like, I don't want it to end, but I also do, because I want the suffering that these children are going through to end. This is an absolutely fantastic show. Reminder that you can find the unedited version of this reaction and all of my reactions on my Patreon. You get those 2 weeks in advance, the edited 1 week in advance. And thank you so much for watching.